This is Italian Brainrot, a Gen Alpha meme that's not that funny, has no substance, and because of that has become kind of a dead meme, right? Let's do a little expansion. All these other characters are only the tip of an iceberg that goes so deep. You see, there's a dedicated group of Italian Brainrot lovers that keep making lore. Like, what are we doing here, man? But due to the nature of short form content, the lore has become fractured between wikis, shorts, and TikToks. So I've done my best to piece it all together, and it strangely starts in Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the full Italian Brainrot lore today. I'm your host, Ninya. Here is my credentials. So we start in Indonesia with Tung 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 Sahur and his family, entering into the invasion arc when the Chimpanzini Bambaninis raided Indonesia. Specifically, Tung 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 Sahur's village. Now, the Chimpanzinis have some pretty crazy stats. They have an allegiance to no one, crazy strength, but they're a little bit stupid. Interesting. Now, there was an epic fight between Tung 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 Sahur's father and the Chimpanzini Bananini. Unfortunately, he did not make it out of that one alive. So little Tung 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 Sahur ran away like a little baby, because he was one. And you'll see that Tung 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 Sahur picked up his father's baseball bat before he ran. And here we can get an extremely cold quote about said baseball bat.
Tung 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 Sahur carried the bat not for sport, but for the sense of safety it brought him. It was his shield in a world that sometimes felt unpredictable.
That gives me goosebumps every time I hear it. Wow. During the invasion of Indonesia, Tung 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 Sahur and his brother were split up. They both survived. They went up through China, his brother towards North Korea, while Tung 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 Sahur goes towards Kyrgyzstan. But why would the Chimpanzinis attack the village? Because they simply want power. They are hungry monkeys for power. And so, while they ran away, his brother went to Japan. Tung 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 Sahur went up towards Ukraine, while they diverted the monkeys, and the monkeys kind of went towards Saudi Arabia, which leads us to the Saudi Arabian incident. I'll be sourcing myself for this. You guys can thank me for visualizing this bit of the lore of what happened in Saudi Arabia. Raiders, including Los Chimpancinonitos, burned his village to the ground, forcing Lirilitos to retreat to the Lirilitos. He'll come in. Desert where he found his iconic claw. After aging himself forward into a Liri Li, he killed all the raiders. So Liri Li is a very iconic character, and this is where he comes in. But he's like an elephant cactus with time powers, and that's how he got his clock. And that's his origin story. And this incident leads us into the training arc. Here there's a multiple year time skip where the two brothers process the trauma of the invasion very differently. Tung 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 Sahur gets a heart full of righteousness, and he wants to protect the weak. So here's the map from before. Remember these locations. Tung 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 Sahur, he's up here. He finds himself over in Italy. You see how it's coming together? Where he finds Tralalelo, Tralala, and Trippy Troppy. So here's the stats of the Trippy Troppy. He has an allegiance to the sea, he's not very strong, he's very intelligent, and he has the power of healing. A quick disclaimer about this character in Bombardino when he comes in. They can be a little bit offensive in their original audios. That was just some guy that made that. That is not lore accurate. Don't get it twisted, people. Let's proceed. So in this video, you can see visualized the training arc of Tung 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 Sahur. Literally a 5-second YouTube short, but you know, he's training hard to protect the weak or whatever. Continental Gilbert, on the other hand, which is his brother, he becomes so evil. Look at that. Look at that. Whoa. Referring back to the map, Gilbert is over here in China. I mean, Japan, where he finds a familiar face you may know, a little more well-known of a character, Mateo. Mateo is from Japan, and they meet each other here. Mateo is a slimy, no-good ape-like caricature. Ape-like is important. Remember ape-like. So eventually those two move over to the United States of America. They start a manufacturing company. It's not just cars they're making. You see these? Bit of a foreshadow there. And they become the world's first quadrillionaires. And all that evil and malice in Continental Gilbert's heart. It causes him to start scheming. A scheme to take over all of what was taken from him. All of Eurasia. Continental Gilbert wants global domination, which leads us into the Berber Patapim assassination arc. You see, Berber Patapim is the forest oracle. He's super chill, he protects animals of the land, and he can communicate with all animals. He's kind of a big deal. Now, my source of this information, let's just proceed.
Patapim, il mio cappello è pieno di slim. Patapipi, patapipi,
Now that was my source of how chill he is. So Berber Patapim is located in the forest of Xinshaozhengbana in Guangzhou, China. In this forest, he has a protective force field where he protects all of his little critters. And so in the first step of their plan, Gilbert returns to Indonesia flying on the aerial troops, where he has a monkey meeting. I told you the ape thing would be important, yeah? So the chimpanzees are pretty evil, and because of that, they are not allowed in the forest sanctuary of Berber Patapim. He doesn't like them. On the other hand, Mateo is. So the plan, Mateo lifts the force field, gets the chimpanzees inside of it. The chimpanzees murder Berber Patapim, and they get the loot of the forest. My source? Myself. This incident can be sourced back to this part of the video. Of his dead father, defending the village from invaders such as Chimpanzini Bambanini. F tier. After murdering the forest oracle, Berber Patapim, God rest his soul, Chimpanzini Bambanini aimlessly roams the forest seeking power. That is just heartbreaking, so that's pretty much what's gonna happen here. But here's the twist. As they get into the forest, Mateo gets a sinister aura around him. He drops bombs on the monkeys, betraying them, and they are now an extinct species. And now we refer back to the map. Mateo takes Agusini back to Japan, leaving behind the Boneca Ambalabu he left in the forest, because, you know, he's just a grunt soldier. They don't care about them. While the Bombardino crocodile that bombed the chimpanzees escapes the other direction. Let's just take a moment. God rest the soul of Berber Patapim. And you can see here is the abandoned Boneca. And now this death causes a big aura loss in the world. This aura loss is sensed by Tralalelo Tralala. Something is wrong. How is he able to sense this? Tralalelo Tralala happens to be the oracle of the sea, such as Berber Patapim was the oracle of the land. You see how it happens here? Let's refer back to the map where the Bombardino crocodile is flying over Italy, and Tralalelo Tralala happens to see this. Bit of a blunder on the Gilbert side of things, and he feels that the balance is disrupted. And so what Tralalelo Tralala does here is he signals to all animals of the landmass that it is unsafe here now that Berber Patapim is dead. And so Boneca, Liri La, they start making the trek over to Italy with the rest of the characters. But what is not a part of this landmass? What is not a part of this? One, you're not gonna believe this. Japan! Japan! And where else in Japan does Mateo go but the Cappuccina Assassino Dojo? Oh my god, it comes together so well. And who else is in here but Cappuccina Assassino and Ballerina Cappuccina? They live in the dojo in Japan. Common misconception, they are siblings. They are not wife. This wiki thing is incorrect. They are not wife and husband. They are siblings. And they take in Mateo under the ruse that this is a business trip. Now, all these deaths cause a massive aura loss in the world. You can see the crazy aura coming off of Italy. And this catches the attention of someone. We'll get back to it, because now is the attack on Italy arc. And we've got a little source for you here. So this video had some spoilers in it, so we're not going to show the full thing. But the thing that I am going to show is there's a huge training arc here, which causes Tung 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 Sahur, well, just That's all I can show. That's all I can show. He gets a new upgrade. He can switch back and forth. This form of Tung 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 Sahur has extreme speed, strength, and defense. Oh, it's so powerful. And he's not the only one, because... Tralalelo, tralala, shark with blue shoes. Tralalelo, tralala gets a massive upgrade too. This form can control water, but the form is a little bit unsustainable because it's so powerful. There's got to be a balance somewhere, you know? But what's Continental Gilbert been up to in this time? He has been making a massive army. A massive army. And this is the power scaling of each of his units. It goes up in this order. So these two, they're just training together. They're getting super OP. The two from the map before make it to the Gulf of Italy. And naturally, they're very suspicious of Boneka and Balabuk because he's an enemy. But Boneka explains the massive army that is brewing underneath the scenes in America to them. He also explains that he was abandoned by him, and thus, he has a reason to betray Continental Gilbert. A little lore about Boneka Ambalabu is that he is a famous scientist. He doesn't have the power of the rest of the guys, but he has the brains. He goes crazy in the lab. And so what happens, Tung 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 Sahur and Boneka go up into central Italy to create a base, a lab, so they can conduct experiments to get ready for the war, while the rest of these three stay in the Gulf. And here's a little visualization of the lab that we're working with here, all right? Now, back in Japan, Matteo witnesses something very intriguing to him. What is this bitch's name? Cappuccina Assassina is a little bit grumpy because, you see, these two were raised on the Cappuccino Bushido Code of Honor, a very disciplined childhood. Cappuccino Assassino loves it, but Ballerina Cappuccina, she hates it. She didn't want to be raised this way. She doesn't like this life. And this gives Matteo an idea. So late at night, they meet up together, and he says, "Work for me, and I will free you from this life." And of course, she takes it. Oh my god, this screenshot is so tough. You guys gotta screenshot this. And the two of them fly all the way back to America. And then we have our three villains scheming. Their mission? Kill Tralalelo Tralala for the sole purpose of global dominization. They removed the land oracle. If they can remove the ocean oracle, they can dominate everything. So Ballerina Cappuccina rides a crocodilo all the way over to Italy for a secret attack. As you can see, she's in the bushes waiting for a sneak attack while Bombardino raids the beach. This timing happened to be very good for them because Tralalelo Tralala is very tired. He's been training relentlessly, and so he cannot sustain this form. As we said before, unsustainable. These two run away because they're weak, and Tralalelo Tralala signals to the rest of the group with his oracle powers that there is a problem brewing. And so Tung 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 Sahur, he's got to make a mad dash. And this is where we get a very iconic moment of the lore. Something very well documented you may have seen before. The first fight between Tralalelo Tralala and Bombardino Crocodilo, and this is how it goes. Oh! No! That's right. Tralalelo Tralala was defeated because of his weakened state. This sounds off the alarms, and Liri La uses his time stop in a moment of emergency. During the stopped time, he runs to Sahur, picks him up, and brings him all the way to the beach to resume time stop. Kind of a smart move, not gonna lie. Sahur sees the damage, and, well, you just gotta see this. And this is what happens. Oh, wow! I think I might have goosebumps on my veiny dick. Cut that out of the video. Actually cut that out of the video. I can't say that. What follows suit is one of the coldest moments of the whole series. Feel free to screenshot this. This is just so freaking sick. But it's also very sad. To the astute viewer, they may remember, where is she? She was supposed to do a sneak attack, but she didn't. She can't do it. She saw the power of Tung Tung Sahur's upgrade and realized, I don't got a shot here. And so, she hatches a little idea. And thus begins the infiltration arc. Ballerina runs in and she goes, I'm a medic, I'm a medic. She is not a medic. Apologies for the image. It's a little bit gross. But what she is an educated female. Now here's a little trippy-troppy quiz. Do you remember? What is their power? It was healing. And as an educated female, she knows this. It's just the things you learn when you're raised under that Bushido code of honor. And so, she urges them, get him to the healing circle, heal him up, he's so hurt. Which is all a ruse to get trust of the Alliance. So he starts healing up in the healing circle, and about at this time is when Cappuccina Assassino realizes, where is my sister? Raises a bit of a red flag. So we refer back to the map. This is where our characters are. Ballerina Cappuccina is going up to the lab with Tung 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 Sahur, and what she starts doing is laying down the riz on him, laying down the love. Ooh-wee. We all know she's got malicious intent, though. Sahur doesn't know that. So they make it to the lab, and Boneka's like, oh, because he has invented a new device. What does this device do? It sends signals over to the United States to hack the devices that they have been creating. It hacks all of their soldiers, and so he hits that young little button, which causes the Croco-Avian Wars in America. This is probably something you've heard about. The Croco-Avian Wars it's kind of well documented. It's pretty much a massive war where all of the units turn on Mateo and Continental Gilbert. They've hacked all manufactured animals, but luckily, Bombardino Crocodillo is dead. He died. I guess not so luckily, though, because, you know, we're not rooting for the bad guys here. So I mentioned I can't go into the details of this war because it's massive and we'd be here for about 17 hours. The purpose of the Croco-Avian Wars, in a nutshell, is to show how OP Continental Gilbert is. He has the power to move stones, rocks, tectonic plates, mountains. He's got it all. And so in the end, he kills everyone just because he's insane, he's cracked. And what happens with the scraps of all of the defeated avians is he starts to rebuild Crocodillo. Rough. But in the meantime, Cappuccina Assassina starts to make the trek across the world. He's looking for his sister. He's just going on a crazy adventure here. The Croco-Avian Wars helps buy time for Tralalelo Tralala to heal. And in this time, Tung 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 Sahur and Ballerina Cappuccina start dating. I'm sure you've seen this. I'm sure you've seen this. That would be so heartwarming if she didn't have such malicious intent. Let's be real. At this point, Tralalelo Tralala is at full strength, and Ballerina Cappuccina sees her opportunity to make a move. Now, an important note here is that Ballerina Cappuccina has never met Tralalelo Tralala officially. He was unconscious under this time. Remember that. Because she starts putting the riz on him next. He doesn't know that they're dating. He doesn't know that they're dating. And now, we've got a video of this event. Of what? You know what? I can't say it. Just watch. Just watch.
Sahur enjoying their honeymoon. They are drinking a Ballerina Cappuccina Tung 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 Guena.
I think you know where this is going.
Tung 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 Sahur.
That is so rough. This causes a massive rift in the friendship between these two. The alliance has been split. And at this current moment, Continental Gilbert has successfully repaired Bombardillo Crocodillo, and he is upgraded. Oh, no. And so the three of them fly over to Europe. Oh, God. Which commences the final war arc. And going back to where we left off, we get Rage Mode Sahur versus Tralalero. And now these three are like, what is going on? Why are these dudes fighting? Ballerina Cappuccina playing the dummy. And so naturally, Leary La freezes them in time because he's like, we can't have our strongest units fighting right now. And in that time, Continental Gilbert starts bombing the entire continent right under our noses. He is a very strategic man. Notice how he doesn't bomb Italy though. He knows what he's doing. And eventually, after exploding everything, he finds himself right there at the Gulf of Italia. And so then Leary La's like, oh, brother. So of course he unfreezes them and they're like, what the hell is going on here? And you may notice Cappuccina Ballerina is over here on the right. Her allegiance to the enemy has now been revealed to the Alliance. And they start doing all sorts of evil schemes. And in this moment, Tralalelo Tralala uses his powers as the Sea Oracle. And he's like, yo, Trippy Troppy, you gotta get down here. It's about to get hairy. And so he goes down there because it's about to get hairy. And now we have to take a moment to understand the psychology of Tung 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 Sahur in this moment. He not only sees Bombardillo Crocodillo upgraded, who he has defeated previously, but his girlfriend is on the enemy side and he has not seen his brother since the incident. And you can imagine how something like that can break a man. Tung 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 Sahur is damaged. He can't handle it, but he also doesn't get time to process these emotions because Bombardillo Crocodillo comes up from behind. And so you can imagine he blows him up. He doesn't give him any time. He blows him up. And this leads into upgraded Bombardillo Crocodillo in Continental Gilbert versus Tralalelo Tralala upgraded. One of the most epic fights. And you gotta remember, this is a rematch too. Bombardillo beat Tralalelo Tralala last time, but now we got full power. So Tralalelo Tralala starts going rage mode. Remember, he can control the ocean. And he starts charging up a big move. Boom! Right through the middle of Bombardillo. And then he breaks him in half. His head is dislocated and everyone goes flying. It's a massive hit. That is the power. That is the full power of Tralalelo Tralala upgraded. This also changes the weather. A big downpour. It starts raining on Tung 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 Sahur after he got bombed. So, you know, the fire gets extinguished a little bit. But the damage has been done, and we get the new upgraded Charged Sahur. Oh, that is cold. That is cold. He's in rage mode on the beach here, and he starts approaching Mateo. There's not a thought in Tung 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 Sahur's mind right now. He has lost it. Everything has gone red. He's crashing out, and he starts beating up Mateo. I don't know how to make videos, but I imagine that it looked a lot like this. We got a reaction in the corner too, if you didn't notice that. It is brutal. It is bloody. It is very bad. And from the shrubble of the beach, Cappuccino Assassino appears. And he sees this whole scene unfolding before his eyes. And he also sees his sister. So he's like, come back to the family. I miss you. You can assume she's a little too far gone at this point. She goes, hell no, I'm evil now. You can imagine how hard that is for Cappuccina Assassina to hear. And so, Cappuccina Assassino, oh! He stabs her. He's not having any of that evil. He is bound by the Cappuccino Bushido Code of Honor. He's not gonna have that in his family. And he also can't handle the shame because he commits seppuku in this moment. That is a big hit to the world. Continental Gilbert starts to charge up his massive attack. He starts to shift the tectonic plates of the African plate and the Eurasian plate right in this location right here, and causes a massive tsunami and starts using the decapitated head of Bombardino Crocodillo upgraded to shoot lasers at everyone. It's so much power! And this tsunami he causes sweeps up everyone. Don't mind that guy. That's a little ChatGPT blunder. It's not looking good for the heroes. And so this causes massive aura from Earth, which catches the attention Do you remember? Of Saturnina El Trapecio Cow. Now, this dude is cracked. He has an allegiance to the universe. His powers are all, and I mean, just look at his stats, man. Just look at his stats. While the other characters are the oracles of the earth, land, and sea, La Vaca Saturnina is the oracle of the universe. You can imagine a guy like that's got stats like that. He's pretty much cracked. So he starts to show up in this battlefield, and he sees the destruction and just the mayhem. And he makes a compelling offer to the heroes. A scary offer. Unlimited power, but with a price. Guys, I'm scared. Considering the current situation, Tralalelo Tralala takes the offer. They need the power. They are being destroyed. So Saturnina starts to use this mystical power on all of them, the conglomerate of all of them, and it causes, you may have seen this one coming, the amalgamation. This is a very, very dark moment, but it gives them crazy power. It's so crazy, their stats are not even calculable. Trippy troppy tralalelo liri liri tung tung suhur boneka tung tung tralale trippy troppy crocodina. Yeah, that's a mouthful. And so we get the final fight of that guy with the long name versus Continental Gilbert with his hand cannon Bombardino. Disclaimer: please excuse ChatGPT for this. It tried its hardest. Gilbert shoots his laser at him. Boom! The blue aura, he tanks it. He just tanks it. It's nothing for him. And what happens next? He channels the power of the laser. Boom! He uses it against Gilbert, and now Continental Gilbert is dead. Everyone is dead. Everyone is killed. What happens next? Our ending is extremely tragic, matter of fact. The combination here is irreversible, and that's the price that they pay. And so our heroes are left to aimlessly wander the desert, the earth. No purpose, no thoughts. They have no consciousness. It's an amalgamation of animals with nothing. They saved the earth, but at what cost? And that's the end of the story. Consider me the Italian Brainrot. What would you call it? Historian. That's the correct word. Consider me the historian here. I've pieced it all together, and if I missed anything, let me know. I will be keeping up with this. Okay.